Hey folks, I'm here in Jake's garage. It sounds like a sitcom or something, doesn't it? Jake's garage.
I think we did this once before, yeah.
We've been here before,
Yeah.
but we got a different boat we're rigging up. Jake's already done some of the foot control steering, which I'm going to go over. You're going to show us what you did already. Yeah. But we have a Hobie Pro Angler 12 360.
Correct.
And we're putting foot control steering on it with the Torqeedo Ultralight 1103. Mm-hmm. And you've already done a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm basically here because Jake is afraid to drill holes in his boat.
I was going to do it, but I just wanted to make sure it was done right. So
okay.
That's why I called
I do have some experience.
Yeah.
I swear it's not like dental surgery. But,
well, we're going to
But if you got a few cavities, so we can...
No, I'll pass
how's
on
Jacob doing? See,
we can drill his teeth.
Clean bill of health? No, we got...
I mean, he's just 12. I think he got more coming, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Only if he has cavities. Let's work on this boat.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of the things that we're using. Well, we'll start with what you already have. Show us what you got here.
All right. So first thing I did was
I'm gonna come around. Get the right angle on this.
These are the Stickz Design foot control steering braces that I've had for well, since I've had my Torqeedo, I've been using these. They slide, they move a lot. They give you offer a lot of adjustment. What I did was I kind of got creative. I had not seen anyone done this yet, but I wanted to preserve the rod storage on the Hobie PA. And people run foot control steering on the Hobie PA all the time, but they always end up losing their rod storage. So what I wanted to do was figure out a way that I could preserve that and still have foot control steering and not be forced to use either my rudder or the motor with the 360 drive as a way to turn. That's been the primary way that people have done it thus far, and that to me, I wasn't accepting that because I fish a lot of current. And if you fish in current and you're trying to do a hand-controlled steering, I learned that lesson the hard way. It doesn't work out real well.
It cramps up your hands.
Cramps your hands. It becomes... It's just not effective because when you're in current and you have that foot-controlled steering and you don't have to use your hands, you can fish. When you're fishing a lake, you have time to determine where you're going to hit your next target. In a moving body of water, you don't have time. That's out the window because you're moving. So if you're on the motor and you're not facing the right direction or your boat's not pointing the right direction, you can't make that next cast effectively. That's important to me because that's primarily where I fish. So what I did was I took the Stickz Designs foot braces.
So
and
that's the sliding part. This is the track.
Correct.
And you attached it.
I attached it with a Yak Attack right angle adapter, and what I did was I just took one of the lock and load bases, and I took the guts out of it, and I used that to tighten it down. I'm not entirely sure if I'm able to, but I may be able to put something on there. No. Either way, it's not a big deal. I don't intend on using it for that.
Yak Attack 90 degree.
Yep. Yeah, it was basically the guts of this is what I used.
Yep.
Took it apart, and I even used the track bolt, and that's how that came to work.
So, what is this part here?
This is Hobie makes these for their stand-up assist bar. That's how they mount their stand-up assist bar to the H-rail.
Right.
It's basically just an area to attach a bolt.
Okay.
And that's what I did with it. Is I ran the bolt through the foot brace, and then I basically just bolted it in there really tight.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna take it apart and put some Loctite on it just so it doesn't back out. But there's a lock washer on there and just a regular bolt. But yeah, I mean it worked out great. It's a no drill install as far as the foot braces. And then after that, and this was kind of, I stood here and I looked at it for a while because that part was easy. But whenever I was sitting there looking at it, my rods were still sticking out where the foot braces are. So I found some bungees that I had, and the Hobie PAs have these little plastic eyelets down here. I basically just tied a bungee in a knot, ran it through there and up and around a ram ball that's attached to the H-rail, and it holds everything in there nice and tight. So it holds it tight from, if you want to look at the difference from now till after. This is after. That's before.
Yep. Get it.
So
yeah.
I mean, it gives you that
simple,
ability. Yeah.
Effective. Nice. So, all right, let's look at the back.
Okay.
This is the
Innovator Sportsman adapter plate for the Hobie PA 360. Real quick on this here, a lot of people don't understand that these bolts go into the existing holes, and there's no inserts under there. But don't fear. I've had this question a couple times. Can you pick it up from this mount? Absolutely. All the stress and weight is back here on the H-bar where you would pick it up anyway. So that's where primarily when you're using this to lift it, you're not pulling on these. You're pulling on this part right here that's clamped down to the H-bar.
Okay.
So
I mean, there's a little bit of upward pressure, but that's a long lever to.
Right.
The amount of pressure coming up there is pretty minimal.
Right, and that's why Trey made it that way, because he knew that those were no longer inserts that came from Hobie that way. So he had to, make sure that all the stress was back there on the handle part, which is a great design.
Yep. Okay. So what's left is
all we have.
You're going to take the camera, and I think I looked at this before. You always want the steering cables. Actually, we're going to look at this stuff first. We have P-clips. We'll get into why we need those. And then these just screws to hold the P-clips in place. They're going to hold, and honestly, I just grabbed a bunch of scrap that I had 3/16 tubing from doing other installs. And I think we got enough here to do it. But you've had this before as part of the Innovative Sportsman foot control steering kit. It comes with it.
Right.
But that went away with your old boat, so I got some other stuff, And you get this at the hardware store if you have to. We're going to put the Spectra cord. So we're running these through. We're reusing his Spectra cord from another boat. And we'll push that through the tubing. The tubing, we're going to run, it's going to attach to this little part here. Just that little, part of the foot slide. And we want it to be straight. And as I say straight, and I'm not putting it in straight because of his rod holders, but we're good. All right. It's going to go back this way, and I think we're going to start holding the P-clip somewhere in this area. And this is where, the line coming straight off of that is going to attach, is going to go into the tubing there. We're going to run tubing backwards, and at some point it's going to go through the hull. That's the part I think that Jake's nervous about is drilling holes in the back of the kayak. But we're good. Like it'll be okay. It'll be okay, Jake. It'll be okay. Because even if you screw it up, even if I screw it up, like you save all the shavings in a little bag, and you can, holes in a kayak isn't anything that you can't fix with goop or a lighter and whatever little plastic shavings. And even if you have to take a little bit off the inside of the rim and cut it, whatever, it's not that big a deal. So we're going to run them back, and then we're going to run them out the back of the boat, and then we'll have a rigged boat. So hopefully we'll have enough time to get it out on the Susquehanna this evening, which it's almost this evening. So let's start doing this.
All right, so what we're doing right now is we're going to take the steering triangle, and we are going to map it out here on the bracket to verify that it's going to be equal distance. We got 2 holes on each side that are going to be exposed, and then we're going to come straight down, and we're going to mark where the line is going to come out. So it's going to be about right there. marking that with a little paint pen. That's where one hole is going to be drilled. And then on this side, we're going to do it the same equal distance right there. So we got 2 holes, or 2 spots where we're going to drill 2 holes there. They're both marked in red. And this is actually the stock steering triangle that comes on the 1103. I'm currently testing and putting through the motions the innovative Sportsman steering triangle that's made out of aluminum, I believe. It's heavy duty, just like everything else Trey makes, but you know, this thing gives a lot of adjustment ability as well as, you know, a lot of strength. This thing is very strong. Not that this isn't, this is just stronger. So testing that out, but we use this to mark our holes.
The reason we use the width of the steering triangle is that you want it to have the right steering rotation, whereas if you go too wide, it limits your steering. If you go too narrow, you're rubbing somewhere here, or on the quick release, somewhere is rubbing. So we've just through, I don't know how many, certainly over 100 installs I've done. And we found that the tips of the steering triangle, where it comes out of the hull, is the right distance. So we'll go ahead and get going. This is the one that I can't really get my hands on the inside. So we're gonna shove it through there and pick it up. And we'll pick it up as it comes out. All right. So I'm gonna get my lighter and singe that and flatten it out.
I'm going to block myself from my fan here. It's a little hot. Take the butt end of a big bolt and just tamp it so it's flat. And that makes a lip so it holds up against it, and for the most part keeps it watertight. I'll probably put some silicone on there that I don't have right now, but make sure that's not still hot when you do this, because if you pull it through and it's still hot, it'll just pull through.
All right, we're gonna, because the line's gonna go right along here, the tubing, it's gonna enter there. And I like that upper corner. That's it. So because we have access to this part of it, we looked at some exit points up there and it just further up, and we just, even if we removed the foam, it didn't do real well. But this way it'll take a minute, but I'll find the right, I'll get it in there.
All right, so I don't have a metal coat hanger, so we got this wiring that's snug enough to fit inside this tubing and still kind of pull it. We ran the wiring through the hole here on the front, and we're gonna pull the wiring with the tubing attached to it up to that hole to the point where it's at the cusp of it, and it's actually pulling it through. I'm gonna help feed it just a little bit there to get it. And then we got our black tubing. We can pull the wiring out. Make sure this doesn't kink, and try to keep it on the inside there. Try to keep it straight and tight. Tight is very important.
What obstructions do you have in there? You got a rod holder?
I have a rod holder, and I also have some foam blocks for support and flotation in there. Right now it's completely tight though.
So you think it's straight all along here?
It's, yeah, right now
coming out where you,
that plastic tubing is inside of this rod holder and comes out this way. And it's, I mean, it's snug right now. I can feel it.
All right. So, show me what you're doing here.
So here we're going to run this plastic tubing through here, and we're going to put some P-clips on there. And I don't use this pocket for much, but even if I do, I can still have access to it. I'm going to make sure I come out on the same side that I went in there. And from this point, it's going to be all P-clips. To keep it kind of snug to the side of the boat, and we're going to come out. I think we determined it was going to come out here.
I think we stay on this flat surface and come back a little bit.
Sure.
I think right in there. We get the last P-clip there, we cut it, we flare it, and that's a nice straight shot, and it's not rubbing on that.
Okay.
Or anything else. It's going to swing wide because we're going to come back just a little bit.
Okay.
When we were thinking about running it through the hull, we looked at this spot. We just had no way to really, without really ripping a whole bunch of stuff out. Even when we did remove foam pieces, it wasn't. We didn't get our hands on that. So we're going to P-clip it.
This was really tough to get to. I think this is going to work out fine, though. Like I said, I don't use this for much, but honestly, that's kind of keeping it protected as well.
Yep.
So,
all right, let's get some P-clips on there, trim it, and then we can run the Spectra cord, and then we get this on the river. It's really just a pilot hole, and if you look at the screws we're using, it's much smaller. So this is pushing a lot of plastic out of the way, and that's absolutely what you want. Makes for a tight, real tight seal, and I don't even worry about the marine goop or the silicone, whatever. I just need the tip in there. Alright, so before we put this last P-clip and screw in, I've got my pilot hole there. We're tugging this forward and seeing, actually, I got that P-clip there. We're seeing where this is going to sit, and right there, we need to cut it and flare it just like we did at the back of the boat, just to make sure if something along here tugs on this, it's not pulling it out. That makes sense. Hopefully. Where's your lighter, man?
back on the floor.
All right. And I have a little bit of a variation on what Jake showed, and this is another way to flare it out. As you use these screws, it actually keeps the tubing really clear, whereas you normally, if you tamp it down, you can actually partially occlude this opening. But there's a couple different ways to get it flared out and nice and open, and the lighter is certainly part of it.
I think if we turn the fan off, it might help too.
Well, I'm blocking the fan. But, alright, that looks... Yep, I don't think that's going to pull through. Alright, we're just tightening that down, and you can see where that's flared out, and it's going to just grab the end of that really nicely and securely. We're going to finish this side up, run some tubing through it, and then we're going to repeat on the other side, and then we're going to get on the water.
Alright, so we're going to run this through this hole right here, and we're going to run it all the way out to the front. And then Jeff is going to do one of his fancy dancy knots that he does with these. Soon enough, we should see it coming out the front there, because it doesn't have anywhere else to go or get kinked up. There it is. And give her a tug. There you go.
Yep.
And eventually we'll do the same thing.
Can you center it? Can you just center your steering, and I'll just draw this tight, and I'm just going to center it on your track. You got enough forward movement.
Yeah.
You can adjust this later if you need to.
That's one of the nice things about those C-Left Designs sliding foot pegs is that you can tie it off and then adjust it as you need with the slide.
Yeah, it's not like the cables and the crimps where you better get it right first time.
Yeah, cables and the crimps are different.
Yeah. So this is just, for lack of a better term, it's a noose knot. So I have it running up, going through there, coming back. I'm going to gather it maybe, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches in, pinch it, and I'm just making coils all the way up to the end. And hopefully I get the spacing right, and I can just pull that snug. Nope, I can tell right now I got to get closer than 3 inches. So I'll go to 2, and if we need to leave a tag end, so be it. And the tag end, I tuck in through the original loop, and it usually stays out of the way. These coils will tighten up with use once you get it on the water and really start putting it through the paces. You just don't want to have a whole lot of slack in it at the beginning. All right, we got it all set up. How does that look?
I mean, I'm getting full range of motion out of the steering. I mean, it's all the way to the block each time.
Excellent. All right, let's get your seat and everything else back on here. Get this thing to the river, and give it a spin. You ready?
I'm ready.
Cool.
You know.
Talk to me, man. What do you think?
Man, it's awesome. This thing turns like on a freaking dime. It is ridiculous. This foot control steering, I mean, I'm turning almost within myself, I think. Like, if I do it right now, just in a low speed, I really don't think I've moved much in position-wise. I just turned straight around. I mean, very happy with it. And it's smooth, too. I can go probably really close to you, and I mean, this is insane. Hole shot?
Yeah. Get it. do you think your top speed will be on that?
Going upriver, I was getting 5.3, so I'm gonna guess somewhere around probably 6.
Cool.
Yeah, 6.
Go cross current in this open lane. See what you get.
Go this way here.
Just cross current.
All right. You gotta make sure you're turned the right direction before you do that. Oh, I love it. Come on. Oh, I should have put the net there. On a Z-Man, what is that? The one with the Hula Stickz. Again on that TRD tickler Hula Stickz.
Which one? You just named like
It's
3
the
days.
Hula Stickz Z.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Ticklers and
yeah,
is one.
so
Hula, Hula Sticks is another.
I know.
TRD is
well, you
another.
know, the great thing is they all work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's about the average size fish down here. But I mean, I rig them all the same, whether it's the big TRD or whether it's the TRD or the Hula Stickz or whatever. I always rig them on that owner hook, that EWG Finesse hook, and it really helps with the snags. And I found that the hook is actually incredibly strong too for being such a light wire hook. I rarely bend these out, so.
Fish on over there in the dark.
Yeah, he might be a good one too. I can't really tell yet.
Yeah, it's a nice fish. Very cool.
Heavy. It's a good fish.
Nice, man. What'd you get him on?
Same thing again. The Hula Stickz. No, real fat belly on him. I mean, all these fish got them big shoulders. You know, they're not your typical river smallmouth, but
Right?
I mean that's a fat fish. You know, and that's what, 17 inches maybe.
Yeah. Nice catch, man.
Thank you.